What's up, guys? It's time to do a double unboxing and a compare and contrast video with a brand new pair of shoes that I haven't even seen in person yet, and then an OG version of that same pair that came out 20 years ago. So let's get into it. The top box came from Finish Line. Very excited to check out this pair of shoes. It's released so many different times over the last 20 years. And Nike is saying that this one is the closest to the original that's ever come out. You can see right there, I'm talking about the Nike Air Max 95 OG. In the retro era, Nike's been throwing around the abbreviation OG. Sometimes they mean OG as a vintage shoe. They'll make the shoe look yellowing and a little bit older. And other times, like in the present case, OG means it's close to its original form. So let's break the shoes out. You can see that the box is reminiscent of the original box that came out way back in 1995. And here are the shoes. Very, very nice. I'm excited to pick up a new pair of this pair of kicks. I'm actually auctioning off the one that I wear and donating the proceeds to the Dorenbecher Children's Hospital. And it's about time for me to break out a new pair, and so this is going to be the one that I rock. Let's now get into this other box, which is actually a pair of OG Air Max 95s that are being loaned to me by my friend Avi. Avi owns the Sneaker Garage in Florida, and he's been a great customer of mine for a long time, and he's a really nice guy and a good friend, and he offered to loan me his OG pair of Air Max 95s from 1995 so that we could do a compare and contrast video. Very, very nice of Avi. I really appreciate it. I'll take great care of your shoes, and I promise to wrap them carefully when I send them back. And so here we go. Avi's pair of OG Air Max 95s. Let's move the retros out of the way. Check out the box right here. Spin it around. I believe they're a size 10.5. That's what Avi said. Let's see. Yup, right there. 10.5. The colors on the box are black, neon yellow, and white. Let's open it up. Check out this flip box right here. Wow. I haven't seen a pair of OG Air Max 95s since 1995. So I'm very excited to break these out, and we're very lucky to get to compare them with the new pair. Here's the anatomical arch supports that the OG pair came with. Now, Avi told me that this pair of shoes is sort of falling apart, and I can already see the midsole is crumbling, so we're gonna be so careful. So careful. Wow. It's like holding an artifact right here. You can see actually a little bit of the midsole just fell off right there as I pulled the shoe out. Wow. Let's get the other one out. The other one's shrink wrapped, which is nice. It'll help hold the shoe together. And let's close this up and check them out right here. You gotta be real careful when you're holding a pair of OGs like this with the polyurethane midsole and visible air. They just do not do well over time. So there we have it. The retro pair that came out just a couple weeks ago on the left, and the OG pair that came out 20 years ago on the right. So let's really look at some of the details of the shoes. And let's look at the colors on the box of the retro pair. It says black, volt, medium ash, and dark pewter. So it looks like Nike went with completely different shades of yellow and gray on this pair of kicks. I'm going to move this one out of the way and this one out of the way. And let's turn them to the side so we can see what we're dealing with here. Very, very carefully. You can see that the visible air bubble is different in the back on the OG and the retro. Like, you can see right here that it's actually bigger at the back than it is up at the front. Whereas on the retro pair, it's pretty much cylindrical. It might be slightly bigger back here than up at the front, but it's not nearly as noticeable as what you see on the OG pair. A great detail that you'll see that Nike paid attention to this retro round is the PSI numbering on the outsole. Back in 1995, when the Air Max 95 originally came out, Nike introduced us to tuned air, and tuned air meant that the air had different PSI, pounds per square inch, underneath the shoe. And tuned air was not only on the Air Max 95, it was also on a whole bunch of other shoes. But this was very early on at the inception of tuned air. So when you look down here and you see 5 PSI, 25 PSI, 20 PSI, that actually meant that back in the day, there was different air pressure in the different parts of the shoe. Now, fast forward to the retro model and you'll see very clearly, you can read the numbers right here. Honestly, I highly doubt that this shoe actually has tuned air. My hunch is that it's just an aesthetic to try to match and mimic the original, but I doubt that Nike took it so far to use the tuned air technology down here. They haven't done that in like 15 years. Actually, originally, the Air Max 97s that came out way back in 1997 and 98 and 99, they also had tuned air underneath them. Let's have a look at the back here. A little bit of 3M right here, you'll notice. It's a lot more chromed out and blingy on the retro pair. I mean, that's no surprise. This pair of shoes just came out versus the one on the right that came out 20 years ago. But you can see that the material on the left is much more like chrome and shiny than it is on the right. Thank you so much, Avi, for loaning me this pair of shoes. I don't know how I would have been able to do this compare and contrast video without you. Remember that the Air Max 95 was designed by Sergio Lozano, and his inspiration was the human body. Let's do a quick review on the various inspirations on the shoe. This right here is supposed to be the muscle fibers. The mesh right here is supposed to be the skin. The Volt lacelets, actually it should have been neon, but on the retro, the Volt ones are supposed to represent the rib cage. This thick midsole and outsole are supposed to represent the spine. So a little physiology lesson on the Air Max 95 right there. A real classic. The Air Max 95 was the first time that Nike was able to put visible air on the front of a shoe as well as at the back. So that was a big innovation. And the Air Max 95 was also the first Air Max to feature 3M detailing. We looked and saw it back here. It's also right up there on the tongue. A couple years later in 97, Nike went all 3M on the Air Max 97. But the 3M really got its start on the running shoe category with the Air Max 95 right here, at least in the Air Max category. It's been a great pleasure walking you through the OG and the retro model. Thank you so much, Avi, for the loan. I'll get these shoes back in the mail and back out to you right away. One last thing, Avi is a huge collector of the History of Air Pack that released early on in 2006. Like, he loves those shoes. He's looking everywhere for the Air Max 93 and also the Air Max 2003 in men. I know he'd love to also collect all the women's editions of the History of Air shoes. But beyond just those two men's models and the women's ones, if you have any History of Air Maxes from the 2006 pack, especially in size 11 to 12, which is Avi's ideal size, and it's also my ideal size, please leave a comment below. He's hoping to complete his set and also keep on building up with more doubles and triples. Anyway, thank you very much. We've got lots more videos to come, and Avi, thank you for loaning me your shoes.